Today we're going to talk about a friend who wants to join a party it's not invited to. This friend is called Turkey, and the party is the EU. The country's relations with the EU are rather stormy, or at least very complicated. Although the negotiations are a roller coaster, they appear to be at a dead end for the time being. Recently, the European Parliament even stated its will to suspend the negotiations, given the authoritarian turn the country has taken. Turkey already applied to hitch up to the EU in 1987. Nonetheless, it had to wait until 1999 for the EU to officially recognise it as a candidate, which feels like a kick in the teeth. There's a debate around Turkish entry of the EU, especially because Turkey is a very populous country, which would give it very significant power, similar to that of the big European countries like France, Germany or Italy. It's Muslim, even if it's been a secular state since its inception in the 1920s. And also there's their disputes over the island of Cyprus with Greek-speaking Cypriots. What are the pros of Turkey joining the EU? Located at the junction of the West and Arab Muslim countries, Turkey has the position of an intermediary. Its army is one of the foremost powers in NATO, topped only by the US, in the view of certain European countries. In the view of other EU members who are against this, if the EU becomes a participant in conflicts in this region, it'll lose its capacity to mediate. The EU can't overlook inviting this friend to the party because of their geographical position. The country is a useful bridge between Europe and Asia. As a member, it might reinvigorate Europe's relations with fast-evolving regions like the energy-rich Caucasus and Central Asia, or the new Middle East emerging from the Arab Spring. The Turkish economy is flourishing. Its GDP growth average for 2014 was around 3.5%, and it weathered the worldwide financial downturn far better than most EU nations. Its public finances are the envy of Southern Europe. Per capita income has increased six-fold, and therefore the average Turk is now happier than his or her Romanian and Bulgarian counterparts within the EU. Only New York, London and Moscow have more resident billionaires than Istanbul. If Turkey is in a position to stay strictly on its reform-orientated path of modernization, nothing can stop us from expecting enormous benefits from mixing the two regions with significantly different factor endowments. An easy economic insight, rarely well understood by politicians or the general public. What are the perks of Turkey joining the EU? Turkey isn't an EU country. 97% of its territory lies in Asia. The EU doesn't need shared borders with Syria, Iran and Iraq. Agreeing to at least one non-European member would open the door for candidates from Cape Verde to Kazakhstan. Turkey is just too big for the EU to soak up. With a population predicted to exceed 91 million by 2050, it'll be the dominant member of the EU. Turkey's impressive rate of growth is flagging, and therefore the country remains an underdeveloped economy. In 2011, GDP growth was almost 9%, but by 2014, it had only been 3.5%. Turkish GDP per capita, at 13,000 euros, is less than half the EU average. The entry of a country that is poor would place unbearable strains on EU finances. Turkey's wealth is unevenly spread, meaning that an army of poor migrants would head west, joining the estimated 10 million Turks already living within the EU. Additionally, unemployment is rising. The analysis of Turkey's human resources has identified an outsized gap in human capital formation and its central role for backlogs in convergence between Turkey and therefore the EU. The EU is unlikely to simply invite new friends to their parties, unless they come with girls, before 2027, when its new multi-annual financial framework will kick in. And if it opens its gates, the simplest placed candidate seems to be the tiny Montenegro. Unlike neighbouring Serbia, which has been negotiating its entry since 2014, Montenegro isn't burdened by a sovereignty dispute, like the one associated with Kosovo. North Macedonia are going to be lucky to join it by the end of this decade, or the early 2030s. Albania will likely need to wait even longer, while Bosnia and Herzegovina and Kosovo will remain at the very end of the queue. What's more, the ECU Parliament voted in favour of suspending the negotiations and Turkey's bid to join the EU. After 30 years of stagnation, Europe's leaders clearly don't want Turkey to join the EU. Given their lack of respect for human rights and recent authoritarian developments within the country, the ECU Parliament has also concluded that negotiations are a waste of time. Now, I ask you, would you invite this new friend to the party?